Hey folks, an unexpected little bonus. I did a little bit on the cups and I thought let's make a little bit more about the cups. It's a little bit tricky to get some of these. I think I did something on the League Cup, but let's do something on those lines. A group or a cup with groups that goes on to knockouts. So we're going to do this with the FAI Junior Cup. So we're going to do the usual kind of construction stuff. There's going to be a lot of jump cuts. I'm not going to show you everything, but this is a short little bonus episode that hopefully makes some sense. So Irish Junior Cup we select, and now we select the teams. You're going to go away for a moment and then you'll come back when I've got all the teams selected. See you in a little bit. How are you? Now, I think I have this worked out on, the third time of asking. So, we have 401 teams from 47 divisions. I am not joking. 47 divisions in the junior leagues in this pyramid go into one eventually. So, of 400, there will be one to win it out. Fixture rules, I've decided all subs allowed. This is a pre-season thing. I want anybody to be able to get their game in, especially for the first couple of, maybe at least the first season. A lot of these teams will not have players. Most of them won't. They'll have maybe 2 or 3 guys. So this will be a chance for anybody who has any players to use them, hopefully. But how do we turn 401 into one without basically having tons and tons of rounds? So we're going to make this a custom cup. So instead of knockout rounds or group stage then knockouts, which is, tricky. It's a lot of tricky. We're going to turn this into a custom cup. So we've got 401 teams. Now, I got the old pencil out and I worked it out. I'm not going to worry about match rules for this. And I'm not going to worry about doing too much so that you can see it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to stages and add stages. So we add 4 or 5 stages to start. I'm not going to worry too much about them. I'm not even going to worry about populating them. I'll show you what I normally do. I know what I'm going to do, but I'll show you what I normally do. So I've decided we want to have 2 sort of qualifiers, 2 preliminary rounds. I have a first preliminary round. We'll worry about the details on that in a little bit. We'll have a second preliminary round, and then we'll worry about those details in a little bit too. We then get to the group stage. I don't want too many pre-group stage rounds, and I also don't want too many teams in the group stage, because I discovered, to my amazement, we have sort of limitations on how many teams can qualify, how many teams can start in a round. You can have no more than 300 teams start in any given round, which, makes it a little bit more tricky, but makes it a little bit more exciting. We're going to go with 128 teams in 16 groups, from which 2 teams qualify in each case. So 16 groups. There's no actual teams starting this round. They start in the previous stage. I'm not going to have anybody, what's the word I'm looking for? Parachuted in at the group stages. This is not the Champions League. I will allow for seeding by division reputation, because it'd be very unfair on 3 top teams to end up in the same group. But we're going to have 16 groups. We're going to have only 1 game each, because in each group there should be 8 teams. 8 teams means we have 128 teams to get into these groups. So now that I know that amount, 1 round in the league group stage. So to get to 128 from 401, this is where the early counting up did. In the first round, we're going to have 290 teams start. 290. Automatically gets rid of that 0. Match rules, don't need to worry about it. Seeding by division, yeah, that would be the fairest thing. Number of legs, I'm going to make it 2-legged games, because, each team should get a home gate in. Oh, we'll have a 7 o'clock game then. It's going to be February. The first game of the date of the season, I think, is Valentine's Day. I generally pick a day that makes sense for me to remember, and Valentine's is fairly easily remembered. We'll have the second legs being played that following weekend, and we'll do the same with the second round as well. Prize money for winner and loser. I'm going to be generous when I come back to that, because if you lose out in the first round, you miss out on games, you miss out on gates, and a lot of other things. I may try and create something for teams who lose out if I can figure out how to do it, but we'll not worry about it right now. Second round, we have 145 teams going through from the first round, because 290 split in two because of each team playing each other gives 145. 145 plus 111 gives us 256, which cut in half is 128. Simple! Yeah, and that's how you get 401 down. Very, very easy stuff. Yeah? Yeah. So, we've gone through this. We're down now to the last 32 teams. 2 teams go through, as we see from here. Where's the number of teams qualifying for next stage? Oops! That was a mistake. 32. That means the top 2 in each group. So this is the knockout stage, is the search. Knockout. First knockout round. Number of matches is 16 because there's 32 teams. Seeding rules. Seeding. We're going to leave it by reputation. Number of legs is 2. And we'll set the dates for midweeks. The week over the May bank holiday, I suppose. So April that, and May that. Okay, we'll do money for winners and appearance later. From here, it's straight forward enough. I think this would be a quarter final. Number of matches. That should be 4 games. Number of legs, 2. Blah, blah, blah. Go back to stages. I need to add in a semi and a final. And that's the search. And that'll have simply 2 games. And you can hear next door my son is screaming out about goals and stuff. And a final. Let me see. Search. Final. 2 legs. Prize for money in there. So, I'm going to do a little bit of tinkering to get the dates in. And then you'll come back in a moment. And in theory, we'll test this and see if it works. Okay, you catch me back again after a ton of little tiny editings. Tiny little annoying things, like for example, I generally create this in the year I want to start playing, which is 2019. So everywhere I'd put in previously it said 2018, so I had to change all those dates and then fix them. I'd forgotten to give the group stages the name group stage. You know that bit where I put in the stage name? Tedious, silly little stuff. By not doing that, I had to go and find that and fix that. All this kind of stuff. I figured that out because what I would do is I'd hit test competitions, I'd hit create new test, and hopefully this time it'll go without a problem. But something would come up and tell me this is your error, and then I have to go and find it. But now this monster thing exists. We have now got an FAI or an Irish Junior Cup. Now, as a mini, I don't know if it really is a bonus, let's add one more thing. In order to have a cup, you need to create a cup. And unless you want to use one that already exists, you might have to create a new one. So add condition. Add condition. Add. We'll call this the Taoiseach's Cup. And we'll call it the Irish Taoiseach's Cup. Irish. Okay. See, although I can't imagine there being many other Taoiseach's Cups available. Called ITC. We'll worry about the other details in due course. What we do want to do is figure on its type, which is a Super Cup. And you can create Super Cups for anything you want. All those details will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Add Super Cup. Select competition. And let's see if we can find the Irish Taoiseach's Cup. Should be somewhere here. No, it isn't. Cancel type. Taoiseach's Cup. It's a Super Cup. Nation. Oh, this will get edited. Okay, add a Super Cup. Select competition. In theory, it should show up somewhere. Irish Taoiseach's Cup. You have to add the nation. You have to add that it's a Super Cup. And we'll take the winners of the Intermediate Cup and we'll face them off against winners of the Junior Cup, wherever it is. Oh, it's on the very bottom of the list, isn't it? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's up here towards the top someplace. Irish Junior 7, no. Irish Junior Cup. Next settings. Let's have all subs. It's a Junior Cup, nobody cares. Really. And let's set the date to be 2020. We'll set that to actually be the first day of the season. Set, finish. Let's see if that works. Test competitions, discover it doesn't work. Create new test. Dum-de-dum. Sometimes, oh, there we go. Date is not in season, so I have to put it back in the season that we should have. So Taoiseach's Cup is 2019. So even though there hasn't been a winner of the Intermediate Cup or of the Junior Cup, I presume it's going to pick the team's most recent, and then it'll run it with them. Hopefully I've got this right. Create new test. Is it just one day out because I kept it on the 14th, because I always do the 14th? Yeah, it's on the 4th. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we try to juggle Football Manager things. Let's make that date a day earlier, because it should have been the 14th, not the should have been the 13th, not the 14th. Let's try it now. Test competitions. Create new test. This is one of the things. I love doing this. I have such a good time doing this, but it is so intricate trying to get it right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this bonus. Hopefully it's straightforward. I'm going to still be adding more. I'll be adding like regional cups, like there'll be a Southeast Cup and stuff like that, or a West Coast Cup. And I'll be adding Super Cups, so you might not see me for a little while. I am going to do some tinkery stuff in the next episode. Stuff like, adding illnesses and stuff like that. And also how you get it to a place where you can actually test it on the game. Talk to you soon, folks. Bye.